The Journey of a Laborer, a story of struggles and triumphs. Chapter 1, The Beginning. In a small, dusty village in South Asia, where the sun burned fiercely and the land was dry, lived a man named Rafiq. He was a simple, hard-working laborer who had spent his entire life toiling under the scorching sun. His father had been a farmer, working tirelessly to cultivate crops on land that barely yielded enough to feed the family. Rafiq had inherited the same fate, working with his hands, his back bent, and his skin darkened by years of exposure to the harsh elements. Life in the village was simple but tough. Work was scarce, and the wages were meager. The village children, including Rafiq when he was young, had dreams. But as they grew older, reality set in. The struggle for survival left little room for aspirations. Rafiq, now in his early 30s, had a wife, Amina, and two children, Sarah and Imran. His biggest concern was putting food on the table and ensuring his children had a future better than his own. Chapter 2, The Struggle in the City. As time passed, it became evident that staying in the village would not be enough to support his family. Rafiq made a difficult decision to leave his home and travel to the bustling city in search of work. With a small bundle of clothes and a heart full of hope, he set off on his journey. Upon reaching the city, Rafiq was overwhelmed by its towering buildings, endless traffic, and constant noise. It was a world unlike anything he had ever known. He roamed the streets, looking for work, and soon realized that the city was as ruthless as it was promising. Every job required connections, experience, or education, none of which Rafiq had. Days turned into weeks, and his small savings dwindled. He slept on the footpaths, often going hungry. Then, one morning, he found work at a construction site. It was back-breaking labor carrying bricks, mixing cement, and working under the hot sun, but it was work. Chapter 3, The Hardships of a Laborer. The days were long, beginning at dawn and stretching until late in the evening. The pay was barely enough to afford one meal a day. The contractor, a harsh man with little regard for the workers, would often delay payments or deduct wages for trivial mistakes. Rafiq, however, endured it all. He had no other choice. The work took a toll on his body. His hands were rough and calloused, his feet swollen from standing all day. But what hurt him the most was being away from his family. Every night he thought about his wife and children, wondering if they had enough to eat, if his children were going to school, if they missed him as much as he missed them.